5 Sports instead of the Coupe or the 5 Series?
Well, at the end of the day, I think the 5 Series is a bit too big for my users, and the Coupe would have been a bit too tight for my users, Lynn.
It's much more sporty, for the Coupe.
It is sportier, but I'm not so much a fan. I do need the 4 doors.
And why the used ones? You can buy a brand new one.
Well, the used cars were actually pretty good. As you watched in the segment, the BMW Premium Selection are cars that are still warranted. They're only about 6 months old, and they're off by about 10% from the list price of a brand new car. So why not?
Good
it's
bargain.
Confidence. Yeah, it's good. It really is. Yep. Talking about new cars, we then got our hands on an XF, the new Jaguar XF. You see, in the past, the Jaguars were kind of like rehashes of the old X-Type. Then there was the S-Type of a couple of years ago, which was based on the Ford Mondeo platform. Wasn't too good, and you still want to call it a Jaguar? Not really. However, the latest Ian Callum designed XF really is happening. For the first time in a long, long while, Jaguars finally don't look like rehashes of the good old XJ, nor is it a potpourri of leftover Ford Mondeo parts. In fact, the new XF really is a lot more purposeful, it's meaner looking, and if I were BMW, I'd be seriously worried right now. The thing is, it's a British car, designed and developed by the British, and probably a lot of the magazine reviews you've read were by the British, so obviously it's very biased. So why rock the boat? We can be just as British as anyone else, even though we shower at least once a day and we don't wear our shoes in the house. Majam, good day to you, sir. And as soon as you set your eyes upon it, you'll notice the new grille and the wide, muscular stance, leading to this hint of a bulging bonnet. In the R version, there are slats on the bonnet, just to let the thunderous cat air out its lungs. Blimey. Unfortunately, for those of you that have written to us about the R version, this ain't it. All the XFRs in the country have been taken. And if you're in the market for an XFR, don't expect to get much change for R1 million. The XF is an important milestone for Jaguar. They've proved that with the right mindset and a lot of money, they can compete with the best from Germany while still maintaining the quaint English attributes that make it a Jaguar. So, the Jag is good. But to survive in the ultra-competitive luxury saloon car market, you've got to be better than good. You've got to be great. For starters, the new XF has reimagined itself as the Jaguar for the new millennium. You see, you don't just stuff your key fob into the XF to start the car. There's a starter button here. Press it, and the car literally comes to you. Everything swivels with electromechanical precision as the XF rumbles into life. What I'm driving here is the V6 version of the XF, which is a cat's whisker under 500,000 ringgit. Looking at the interior, it does feel like a car worth $500,000, $500,000, sorry. I am a bit concerned though, with all these electrical motors that generate power and move all these aircon vents and the gear lever. It's just another bunch of things that can go wrong. It may look futuristic, but underneath, it really is just an S-type Jaguar, running the suspension of its coupe brother, the XK. Driving the XF, I find that it's not as sporting or accelerative as a BMW, preferring a rather more relaxed attitude in its power delivery, a more orchestral build-up of speed. But if I'm honest, it suits the Jaguar's character perfectly. But to say that the XF doesn't handle would be a mistake. It may lack the darty pointedness of its German rival, but you don't have to be a motoring genius to make the most of its performance either. It flatters the driver in ways Jaguars never did. Okay then, so let's just go back to plain old English. So, this Jaguar XF with the V6 engine has 240 horsepower. It gets to 100 kilometers an hour from a standstill in 8.3 seconds. That's pretty impressive for something that weighs 1.7 tons. Now, compare that with the rest of the executive brigade within the same segment. It's kind of a bit underperformed. However, if you compare it, I mean, it is something very different. It has its own thing, which is its Britishness. Meaning, not so much go, but all about the show. If you're an average wage earner, you've got to earn a pretty penny if you're going to buy something like this. But for those of you that are lucky enough or privileged enough, then the Jaguar XF is a very good option.